Albatrosses, of the biological family Diomediidae, are large seabirds related to the procellariids, storm petrels, and diving petrels in the order Procellariiformes, the tubenoses. They range widely in the Southern Ocean and the North Pacific. They are absent from the North Atlantic, although fossil remains show they once occurred there and occasional vagrants are found. Albatrosses are among the largest of flying birds, and species of the genus Diomedea, great albatrosses, have the longest wingspans of any extant birds, reaching up to 3.7 meters, 12 feet. The albatrosses are usually regarded as falling into 4 genera, but disagreement exists over the number of species. Albatrosses are highly efficient in the air, using dynamic soaring and slope soaring to cover great distances with little exertion. They feed on squid, fish, and krill by either scavenging, surface seizing, or diving. Albatrosses are colonial, nesting for the most part on remote oceanic islands, often with several species nesting together. Pair bonds between males and females form over several years, with the use of ritualized dances, and last for the life of the pair. A breeding season can take over a year from laying to fledging, with a single egg laid in each breeding attempt. A Lyson albatross, named Wisdom, on Midway Island is the oldest known wild bird in the world. She was first banded in 1956 by Chandler Robbins. Of the 22 species of albatrosses recognized by the IUCN, 21 are listed as at some level of concern, 2 species are critically endangered, 7 species are endangered, 6 species are vulnerable, and 6 species are near threatened. 2 numbers of albatrosses have declined in the past due to harvesting for feathers. Albatrosses are threatened by introduced species, such as rats and feral cats that attack eggs, chicks, and nesting adults, by pollution, by a serious decline in fish stocks in many regions largely due to overfishing, and by longline fishing. Longline fisheries pose the greatest threat, as feeding birds are attracted to the bait, become hooked on the lines, and drown. Identified stakeholders such as governments, conservation organizations, and people in the fishing industry are all working toward reducing this bycatch. Morphology and flight. A southern royal albatross, note the large, hooked beak and nasal tubes. The albatrosses are a group of large to very large birds. They are the largest of the Procellariiformes. The bill is large, strong, and sharp-edged, with the upper mandible terminating in a large hook. This bill is composed of several horny plates, and along the sides are the 2 tubes, long nostrils that give the order its former name, tubenaires, or tubenoses. The tubes of all albatrosses are along the sides of the bill, unlike the rest of the Procellariiformes, where the tubes run along the top of the bill. These tubes allow the albatrosses to measure the exact airspeed in flight. The nostrils are analogous to the pitot tubes in modern aircraft. The albatross needs accurate airspeed measurement to perform dynamic soaring. Like other Procellariiformes, they use their uniquely developed sense of smell to locate potential food sources, whereas most birds depend on eyesight. 14 The feet have no hind toe and the 3 anterior toes are completely webbed. The legs are strong for the Procellariiformes, making them and the giant petrels the only members of that order that can walk well on land. Albatrosses, along with all Procellariiformes, must excrete the salts they ingest in drinking sea water and eating marine invertebrates. All birds have an enlarged nasal gland at the base of the bill, above their eyes. This gland is inactive in species that do not require it, but in the Procellariiformes, it acts as a salt gland. Scientists are uncertain as to its exact processes, but do know in general terms that it removes salt by secreting a 5% saline solution that drips out of their noses or is forcibly ejected. Taking off is the most energetically demanding part of an albatross's journey, requiring the use of flapping flight to provide thrust as well as lift. The adult plumage of most of the albatrosses is usually some variation of dark upper wing and back with white undersides, often compared to that of a gull. 15. The extent of coloration varies. The southern royal albatross is almost completely white except for the ends and trailing edges of the wings in fully mature males, while the Amsterdam albatross has an almost juvenile-like breeding plumage with a great deal of brown, particularly a strong brown band around the chest. Several species of mollymox and North Pacific albatrosses have face markings like eye patches or have gray or yellow on the head and nape. 3 albatross species, the black-footed albatross and the 2 sooty albatrosses, vary completely from the usual patterns and are almost entirely dark brown, or dark gray in places in the case of the light-mantled albatross. Albatrosses take several years to get their full adult breeding plumage. The wingspans of the largest great albatrosses, genus Diomedia, are the largest of any bird, exceeding 3.40 meters, 11.2 feet, although the other species' wingspans are considerably smaller at, down to 1.75 meters, 5.7 feet. The wings are stiff and cambered, with thickened, streamlined leading edges. Albatrosses travel long distances with 2 techniques used by many long-winged seabirds: dynamic soaring and slope soaring. Dynamic soaring involves repeatedly rising into wind and descending downwind, thus gaining energy from the vertical wind gradient. The only effort expended is in the turns at the top and bottom of every such loop. This maneuver allows the bird to cover almost 1,000 kilometers per day, 620 miles per day, without flapping its wings. Slope soaring uses the rising air on the windward side of large waves. Albatross have high glide ratios, around 22 to 1 to 23 to 1, meaning that for every meter they drop, they can travel forward 22 meters, 72 feet. 3. They are aided in soaring by a shoulder lock, a sheet of tendon that locks the wing when fully extended, allowing the wing to be kept outstretched without any muscle expenditure, a morphological adaptation they share with the giant petrels. Albatrosses range over huge areas of ocean and regularly circle the globe. Albatrosses combine these soaring techniques with the use of predictable weather systems. Albatrosses in the southern hemisphere flying north from their colonies take a clockwise route, and those flying south fly counterclockwise. Teen albatrosses are so well adapted to this lifestyle that their heart rates while flying are close to their basal heart rate when resting. This efficiency is such that the most energetically demanding aspect of a foraging trip is not the distance covered, but the landings, takeoffs and hunting they undertake having found a food source. 19. A common assumption is that albatrosses must be able to sleep in flight, although no direct evidence has ever been obtained.
Keep an open mind, it's the only way new things can get in. Did you enjoy this video? Subscribe and turn on notification. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like to show your support. Thank you for watching.